I love all the prop manufacturers in this industry equally. They are all great. They're all great people. They are all wholesome. They are all honest and trustworthy, I've found in my dealings with all of them. And I really do appreciate them taking the time to really develop things in this particular category. That being said, at this point in time, we have a lot of prop choices, and it's really hard to choose a bad prop from the last 2+ years. So that being said, they keep releasing new props because they need that new to sell more props. However, if you ask somebody like me that's very, very specific and nitpicky, I actually do feel a difference with these newer props. There are improvements happening and things do get better. But if you're anywhere from novice to pro enough to begin to care but really don't care, it really doesn't make all that much difference what prop you choose over the previous couple of years. But you should probably try to aim for a prop that somewhat fits the setup and the motor configuration that you have. Now, on the small scale, we don't have a lot of prop options and choices for the various different kinds of setups. But once you scale up to 5-inch, I mean, there are so many 5-inch prop options that it's kind of mind-boggling. And really, the decision comes down to, well, I'll get into the decision in a minute. Let me talk about this prop. This is the new Gemfan 51433. It's using the same design language from the 51466, which previously was a fantastic prop. I love this prop. This is the prop that they put my sticker in the bag for because I love this prop so much. This one is incredibly efficient, surprisingly fast for the pitch and everything that it is, and the response is excellent, the durability is excellent. Everything about this prop is really wonderful, except for maybe a little bit of a touchy low throttle control, and if you're racing with it, well, you probably want a more durable prop. However, today a lot of people race with this prop still, and I think it's a fantastic prop because it has so much grip, such great efficiency at high speed. Now, the 51433 props are very, very similar, except that they're designed to be a little bit more responsive and give you more throttle resolution. They don't have the same speed because they do have a lower pitch. Now, the numbers, the 51433 and 51466, are not really that telling. It's really hard to tell which one, or they're really relative. You can't tell between companies if one is more pitch or has less pitch on it. You really can only compare them within companies. And within companies, you can clearly see here that the 51433 on the left here has a shallower pitch than the 51466 on the right here. Also, what's interesting is that they changed the color on the prop. It's actually more of a darker gray color rather than this more translucency gray color. I don't really care as long as it's gray and it doesn't show up in my camera or reflect light into my camera lens. It doesn't really make a difference to me. That's why I prefer the gray color. I really, really like the yellow color a lot, however, and I will forever, when I'm using these props, run the yellow props in the back of my quad just because they look so awesome. And if anybody's recording my quad third person, it makes it look so much cooler just because I love this fluorescent-y yellow color. I keep asking these prop companies for neon fluorescent colors because I just love that super neon racy look. Super personal preference, but hey, that's what I like, and I asked for it. This is the closest color to that neon-y kind of fluorescent, iridescent kind of look that I would like to have in my props one day. Maybe they'll get it right at some point in time, but still, this is a really nice attempt for them, really nice color. Overall, compared to the 51466, this prop is 0.2 grams, actually it's like 0.18 grams lighter. It has a shallower pitch, and that combination means that it's going to be more responsive. Absolutely. You can tell that it is more responsive in the air. However, it is not quite as fast, but that also depends on what motor you're putting it on and what quad you're putting it on, because the shallower pitch makes the prop less draggy, and combined with the lower weight is what gives it its higher response. But the lower drag that the blade has means that the motor can keep spinning up faster and faster once it gets to the peak RPM that it's going to give you. So with the 51466, it's sort of going to top out, whereas with the 51433, it'll probably give you a couple more RPMs, which kind of makes up the speed difference. Now, the 51466 is slightly, I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference, but it is slightly faster. But the main difference between these two props is that the 51433 has much better low throttle resolution, much better low throttle control, and it is a much more controlled prop overall. Everything else is very similar, has great grip, and the efficiency has improved even more because it is less of a draggy prop. When you are flying at RPM, higher RPM, it just is surprisingly efficient, and that's why I really love this particular line of Gemfan props. The video that you saw at the beginning, and I'm going to put more of at the end, that is a recent shoot that I did actually yesterday, and I was using this prop on that shoot, and what I found was with a quad that had 1800 kV motors and a 4S 1500 milliamp battery going downhill, mind you, that does make a pretty significant difference, I found out. I was getting about 8 minutes of flight time, moving around 45-ish miles per hour, pretty consistent. I mean, that's really impressive for this prop. Now, weight is also another category you should consider, as well as the motor size as well. The weight of your quad, my preference is lighter, of course, but when you're flying cinematic things, you don't really have a choice. You have to carry a Hero 8, you have to carry a big battery, you have to have a frame with wide arms in the front. Everything is compromised. So weight is an annoyance, but I still would not recommend going above about 680 grams for a 5-inch quad, because once you get past around 680, 700 grams, the throttle starts feeling a little bit wonky and it starts feeling more like an on-off switch. You get to this point where you get a big wave of thrust and it kind of just takes off on you, and it makes it really difficult to get that really fine modular control. That being said, if you have too low of weight, it has a somewhat similar effect unless you're using a prop that has a very low pitch like this prop, or even lower pitch than this prop. Now, I haven't talked about other props, but there are a number of other props that are in the same category. It just seems like all these prop companies have finally realized how to make an actual prop that we prefer to use for our cinematic, acrobatic, whatever kind of non-racing quads, because I do consider these non-racing props. And so the Dahl is finally coming out with a new prop again. The Nepal 1 is very, very similar to this prop. It feels very similar. And the HQ S4 is also very similar to this prop. The HQ S5 is a little bit aggressive for my taste. It does have more power and more speed, but it's just a little bit more difficult for me personally to feel on the throttle. And the main dilemma that I have with the S5 or just the S whatever prop line is that they're just not as efficient as these Gemfan props. Now, it's not a huge difference, but when you're flying and tracing someone on a bike that's wanting you to fly for 14-15 minutes, getting an extra 30 plus seconds out of your quad, as well as having better voltage stability, is a really nice feature for me to have. Now, I've kind of just spoken freely and touched on a lot of points in this overall discussion. I haven't really censored myself in any way, but there's a lot going on with your setup that makes it very personal to how you fly and how you want your quad to be. Now, I personally have sort of gotten pretty tired with just general acrobatic 5-inch stuff. I'm heading down the cinematic path completely. I love my toothpick and smaller 3-inch quads. I don't have any desire to fly the 5-inch for any kind of general acrobatic purpose. It doesn't matter where it is. I've flown enough of the 5-inch not to really care anymore. And so everything from here forward is really personal preference, as well as these prop choices for you are super personal preference. Between this prop, the S4, and the Nepal 1, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to be able to tell a very clear difference between the props. The Nepal 1 and this prop are going to be more efficient than the HQ S blades, but it's really not that different, and it also depends heavily your flying style and what you're doing with the quad. I have spoken, I don't know how I speak so much about these things. I'm going to stop here. Floss your teeth. This prop is available at FPV Cycle now. It's coming out Monday, tomorrow, January 5th or 6th or whatever that is. Take care. I have a lot of really cool things coming, and I'm working on some stuff that is actually new to the industry. So take care. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.